In today's video, we're going to talk about if you should be on the field or in the press box as a defensive coordinator. Hey, what's going on YouTube? Mr. Football here today. So today I wanted to talk about, as a defensive coordinator, if you should be on the field or in the press box during the game. So back when I started as a coordinator, we needed essentially somebody in the booth, and I hadn't really thought much kind of going into being a new coordinator where I wanted to be. I really didn't think about it as much. I was signaling the plays in. And then kind of as we were on our first road trip to a scrimmage game, it wasn't important or anything like that. But we got to talking or whatever, and we were like, well, is we going to put anybody in the booth or whatever? And we really didn't think much about it. But, I was like, I think I would like to, try it or whatever. And I started to kind of research, stuff about defensive coordinators in the press box. And it wasn't there. And I saw just a few articles about a couple of, NFL and college guys that did it. And the biggest consensus that I got was that it was better for the defensive coordinator to be on the field and the offensive coordinator to be in the box. And I really, if I was an offensive coordinator and that was all I coached, I would want to be in the box full time, because you can see everything. You can see the defense. You can, there's certain things that offensive coordinator you can't see, from the field side. But here's the real thing that got to me this year. We went through, kind of a coaching change, and I really wasn't, thrilled with how we were conducting things defensively. And I wanted the control on the sidelines, because what I did for 3 years was I let other coaches, coach their positions. I called the plays from the booth. And I really did like calling the plays in from the booth, but there's kind of a chain that it goes through. And so here's how it would work for us. So we would be on defense. I would call in the play, and what I would do is I would give our signal guy, I would give him a number, and that number would correspond to a wristband. He would look at the wristband, and he would signal the call. They'd go play defense. The thing that I did not like about the system was during timeouts, I had to relay everything in through the headset about what adjustments we needed to make, what we were doing, and I just didn't like that aspect of it. So when we went through a coaching change, I was still the defensive coordinator, and I just kind of I was just kind of done with being up there, and I was just like, yeah, I want to be on the field this year. And I was just, it was one of those things. I was in the booth for 3 years. I mean, I at my current school, I coach in the booth for essentially 30 football games for over 3 years, and was on the field very little, sometimes in scrimmages, but even in some of our scrimmage games, I'd go to the booth anyway just to practice our stuff that we would do, and getting that in. But it's just a whole different game. The emotion is so different from up top, and the things that I've learned is you can't lose your cool in the press box. You can't. It's just you have to have a different mindset, and that was something that I struggled with real early on. And honestly, I felt like at times I looked like a fool for the way I acted. Not saying have I thrown chairs? Have I made an ass of myself? Yes, I have. And I regret that. I really do. I remember one time, I don't know, something happened, and the chair I was sitting in, it got spiked. And I regret that. I really do. But that was real early on in my, coordinator days. And I've looked past that, and it's just one of those things you have to have a different mindset. Not a screamer, but I have lashed out before. And that's just one of those things. You care about the game a lot, and ultimately, you can't control what your players do on the field. Like, that's them. I can't play the game for them, and that emotion comes out. But when you're in the press box, that emotion can't come out because you have to focus on the next thing, and you just have to be ready to call the next play. When I was on the field this year, it was totally different for me. Because I hadn't been a coordinator on the field necessarily. I've done it in team camps and stuff, and done the 7-on-7 thing as the coordinator, but like, it's just different from coaching in the real game and then being in the press box, and that separation. You got to have. Now, my big thing was like, I needed the press box guy. Like, I needed that guy to relay me all the stuff that I needed. I needed down and distance. I needed near hash, far hash. Those things were important to me, and like, I feel like I'm kind of there now, and we've got what I look for. But the big thing that I wanted to be able to do, as the defensive coordinator, is like, be able to make adjustments when offense has got the ball. And I just felt like I couldn't do that in, say, the previous regime that we were under. And something that we've really done a really good job at is trying to get a lot of our players going one way. And so what we've incorporated is kind of and we essentially have a sideline TV set up to where we can, like, after a defensive series, we can go to the TV and we can look at plays on the iPad, and we have a TV set up so we can, view the plays, and we can get like a quality, like, 1 to 2 minute session of just like things we've got to fix. And that was a game changer for me, was just going through and being able to make adjustments down there and not have to relay those. But then, like, you have another coach up top that sees a whole different game, and he sees it so different. But I used to see that change up top, but I couldn't make it on the field, and I couldn't relay that adjustment because it's like, because I'm still the one making the play call at the end of the day. So, like, there's certain things you see on the field, there's certain things you see, and you got to find the balance. I would prefer, from pretty much here on out, that, like, if I'm calling the defense, like, I'm on the field, and it's a different emotion, and I'm an emotional guy. Like, when we have a big play, like, I'm the fist pump guy. Like, it's a real, like, it's something you gotta have, and that's just my passion. And I feel like, and I don't know how this video has went off to this, but that's just what I feel like I have to have, and that kind of control. Like, yes, I want control of my defense, and being right there on the field as things happen was a game changer. It really was. I was still in the booth this year for our our 8th and 9th grade junior high games. Like, I still do that, but I'm not calling the plays. I'm up there, working for the other defensive coordinator, and so I'm still getting that aspect of it and still seeing it from another side. And so we help each other out like that, because that our junior high D coordinator is my press box guy. So it's like, it all works out, and it's just one of those systems that we've got in place that's really working. When I was at my previous school, something that people always said about me, which I don't know if this is just my personality or what, but I'm a pretty quiet guy if you really know me. Obviously, I do the videos on here, but I'm pretty, like, reserved in a way. And when the lights turn on, like, I coach different in practice sometimes, and compared to the game. And in practice, like I'm not a screamer. I'm not like a get in your face kind of person, and it's not how you coach anyway today. But, like, when it's game time, like, I love it. And, like, when we get sacks on defense, when we get, like, interceptions, like, I'm the one running down the sideline trying to catch the guy. So, like, it's just people always said, like, I just had a different personality on the game field. And And it's just one of those things, like, and I couldn't let that, and that passion still tried to come out in the press box when I was up there for 3 years. It came out at times, but there were times where I had to control it because I let the passion get out sometimes, and I look like an idiot. So it's one of those really fine lines. Should you be in the press box as a coordinator, as a defensive coordinator? You have to make that choice for yourself. I don't think, after doing it for 3 years, I don't think it's worth it. I think if you can put a lot of trust in, and I trust all the coaches I work for. Like, if I had to be in the press box for some other reason, they could get it done. If I got quarantined tomorrow and they had to call the plays for me, like, I would trust them to do that. And it's one of those things, like, you've got to decide for yourself. You've got to find what you are into. Like, if you want that control defensively, because I don't really want to talk about this from the offensive standpoint, because if I was an offensive coordinator, I'd want to be in the booth. It's just a different game. It's almost like playing Madden or NCAA football. Like, you just see everything and you can make those adjustments. It's like a video game in a weird way. But on the field, it's just different. And I would prefer to be on the field, so that's where I'm going to stay. And that's my final point. So that's it. I just wanted to say thank you guys for watching this. I'm sorry if this was a long video, but I feel like it was one of those things that I needed to get out. It wasn't necessarily one of the things I was planning on doing, but as I was going through another video, I was like, I need to sit back down and do this again. I was doing my coordinator talk over tips for being a new coordinator, and I started to think about, like, the press box. And I was like, man, I should do a video on that, because, like, I had this dilemma 4 years ago about where should I be, and I've looked for those answers and I've not really found it. So I hope this helps somebody maybe find that answer. So anyway, I want to say thank you guys as always for watching this video. I'm Mr. Football, and we'll see you next time.
Perfect.